We're back with Brandon Hudson of NBC10 Telemundo. I just did this so I could say it twice.
Everybody loves saying Telemundo.
Oh, you can't say it enough. It's like Corinthian leather. You can't say it enough. I'm enjoying, from where you're seeing, you can't see her, every now and then she'll look back and be like, what are they talking about now?
Right. Yeah.
How did they get on this? You have a responsibility in your job that I don't think people realize, and I always get on the media for not putting it out there enough, that you have to fair and wade, and you have to research stuff. Meanwhile, technology has enabled people to create content with no regulation, and they're communicating at the speed of I don't give a crap, while you're out there. And I remember there was a Charles Kuralt story. I don't know if you know who Charles Kuralt is, but he did an on-the-road thing for Channel 10, just great humanist, and he was working for Edward R. Murrow as a copy boy, and there was somebody that died, and he was doing a story for the radio, and the guy's name was Chris something, let's say. And he told him redo it, and he said, his name is Chris with a K. You spelled it with a C. And he said, it's radio. He said, it matters, to that degree. We've gone from that to where people will I've actually had people on Facebook who I've respected their intelligence over the years, and I think Facebook is just a giant mechanism to make people lose respect for people in many ways, because I see people that I respected their opinion when I knew less of it. And I see people, and there were some statistics. I've seen two people post statistics. I said, I'm curious, where did you get those? I'd like to find the source and everything. And they flat out said, I made them up. I said, so you just decided to say, 87% of all ham is poisonous, and make a meme or whatever and put that up there like it's a fact. Whereas if you go out and you do your job and you mispronounce a name and you wear a white belt after Labor Day, people get mad.
Right. Or I could lose my job. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And reporters in this town have lost their jobs for what I, as a member of the public, think is a seemingly minor thing. And when you lose your job in media, it's rare that you're in the same market. You get, they cast you into the void and you pop up in Paramus, and what do you like about the area?
I think the people.
What section do you live in?
Right now, it's called Old Kensington. So it's in between Northern Liberties and Temple University. And so it's one of those up-and-coming neighborhoods.
I just want to go on the record, and this isn't you talking, this is me. Okay. I was in it for like the first 50 years or so, but we've officially given too many names to too many neighborhoods. I think our quota's filled. Philadelphia's got anywhere between 300 and like 600 different neighborhoods. Right. And when you just threw Old Kensington at me,
See, so I was always told it's Old Kensington, but I've also been told it's Kensington, but then I can also say I'm Northern Liberties because I'm right at Northern Liberties.
There are whole cities that just have South Side and regular, and Philadelphia's got to have a name for. If you throw a baseball, you're crossing three neighborhoods now.
And if you get the neighborhood wrong on air, we will hear about it.
I can't even imagine that, because you're up and you say Rawhurst and they go, yo, this is Oxford Circle, and it's. I wouldn't even say neighborhoods. I'd give longitude and latitude. Work it out yourself.
So here's the thing. Here's why we say neighborhoods. So the viewer at home, especially if they live in that neighborhood, they know that we have a presence in their neighborhood.
Right.
So it makes them feel included.
Because all news is local news.
Right.
There's an idea for an app. You click on it, it tells you the Philadelphia neighborhood you're in.
Yeah.
By longitude and latitude.
We'll have to get our people on that.
Yeah.
Definitely do that.
NBC10 NBC10 Telemundo.
The locator app. Yeah.
You're in an up and coming neighborhood, and that means that there's craft brewing going on near your house, because that's what up and coming
right around the corner.
Because as many neighbors as we have to have 3 beers.
You're not an up and coming neighborhood yet until you have apartments that were made from an old building.
Yeah, a factory
building and a craft brewery.
Yeah. Now, just so we're clear on your enunciation, because you are a bit of a wordsmith, craft came out a little bit sounding like crap. So just when you listen to this, you
craft.
Said crap. It sounded like you said crap brewery.
Yeah.
You and your wife, do you have children?
No. We just got married a year ago. So, children will be in the future.
But you like the city? Do you like the region? Or?
Yeah, we do. And we met in Pittsburgh, and we came over around the same time. Well, we got the job, and then we came over to Philly. And
what does she do?
She's a reporter. She works at NBC10. She works on the morning show. And so we both kind of fell in love with the city, kind of love at first sight. I think she was hooked on Reading Terminal Market before I could get over there. But, I remember she went out for an interview, and she called me and she said, "Oh my God, Brandon, I went to Reading Terminal Market. It's the greatest place on earth." And that kind of sealed the deal, among other things.
Has she had Scrapple?
No, she hasn't.
Should go to Reading Terminal Market and get some Scrapple.
We could. We usually stick to the ribs, and she gets a smoothie and the chocolate turtles.
What's a chocolate turtle?
So I've had chocolate turtles before, but I guess for her, it kind of brings back memories of when she was living with her parents and her mom, and her mom. Her parents still live in Michigan, so they would go to the candy shop and they would get chocolate. So it's basically chocolate pecan with caramel inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're really good. I had no idea how expensive they were, but what
baby wants, baby gets.
Right.
Yeah. What about cheesesteaks?
So.
Very important question.
This is you're okay. So I love cheesesteaks.
I'm mentally packing your bags.
No. So I need to spend this summer trying to hit as many cheesesteak spots as possible. So right now, I've had D'Alessandro's.
Excellent.
Or D'Alessandro's, however you want to pronounce it. I've had Joe's Steaks over in Fishtown at Frankfurt and Girard. I've had Gino's. I introduced a coworker to Donkey's Place in Camden, and
I've heard about them.
Had I not brought my lunch that day, I would have eaten there. But I'm a stickler for, if I bring my lunch, I got to eat it. And I try to watch my weight. Maybe if I end up in Camden tonight, I will go to Donkey's Place. But there's a few other places. Jim Steaks is another place that's on my list.
I think, with all due respect to D'Alessandro's, who I hold in high esteem, I think Jim's is one of the finest steaks because the size is perfect.
Okay.
It's just a little smaller. It leaves you wanting a little more, whereas D'Alessandro's is a fuller steak that leaves you wedging it down your pie hole. And Jim's leaves you wanting a little more. And I like the way, I haven't been down in a while, but the way that you would get in line and they had you could spot the out-of-towners, and it wasn't quite soup Nazi, but it was a little bit of soup Nazi, where it was like, you'd go, cheesesteak, fried onions, pizza sauce, whiz. And you step aside and somebody go, "Well, let's see. What do we want to get here, hon? We should get some of the cheese. What do you think we should get?" The guy's just gritting his teeth because the line's backing up. But yeah, it's hard to go. I think the worst steak in the region is better than the best steak outside the region.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
It's like the way pizza somehow deteriorates. Like, it's some superpower to make a good pizza the further you get away from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when I go to other big cities, the pizza doesn't taste right to me. Maybe it's...
What's your ideal pizza?
Slightly garlicky, not sweet sauce at all.
Okay.
Light sauce. I'm becoming a white sauce kind of guy. Crust is thin, but firm, yet not rigid. And it should be, it should have meat on it. Sorry.
Yeah. You're not offending me, you know.
I'm offending. I'm always offending somebody. It's got to have an offensive amount of meat on it. Actually, and the meat should destroy all the other flavor because it should weigh it down. It should look like a deli fell on a plate with a crust around it.
That sounds like I've had pizzas like that before, and one that comes to mind is from Riverside Pizza over in Manayunk.
Okay.
So before I moved over into Old Kensington, lived over in Manayunk, and Riverside Pizza was our go-to pizza spot. And they had the meat lovers, which, as you described, looked like just they had a deli and just took all the kind of meats and just put them on a pizza, and they served them. I ate it. I thought it was delicious.
See, that's like you were talking about getting some donkeys, and that's such a younger person's thing, because the idea of eating a full-size cheesesteak in Camden in the middle of the night and expecting to have anything productive happen with the rest of my night is just so far in the rearview mirror.
Right. That's why you got to eat it. We make sure we try to eat around 6 or 7, especially now when it's daylight out. But my thing is, when I'm new to an area, I try to do as much research on restaurants as I can. Pizza's a big thing. Cheesesteaks are big.
Soft pretzels?
I'm getting into that. So my pretzel taste buds are still developing. I love pretzels, don't get me wrong. I didn't even know Philadelphia had the lockdown on pretzels until I moved here. But I really like the pretzels that are coated in cinnamon.
No. Stop.
Well, like I said, my taste buds are still developing.
You can't coat everything and live in old, new Uber Kensington, and some things have to be plain. These Wawa pretzels are okay if you're out of the area, but in the area, no, they're too healthy. You can taste the healthiness in them. They just don't taste right. You need a pretzel that has some seasoning from car exhaust and the such. That's what we're used to in the region, okay?
Now you're saying it's sold out of somebody's truck?
You need a Roosevelt Boulevard medium strip. The handler is nodding her head in approval. That's the only thing she's approved.
All right.
And you get 4 or 5, and I don't know how much they are now, $2 or whatever, and 2.5 of them are actually edible. But pretzels are they're very fattening.
Right.
They're very fattening because it's all bread. But you take a good pretzel. Pretzel Factory makes good pretzels too. You take a good pretzel. You dip it in chili. That's a meal. See, she's warming up to me. When we originally talked on the phone, she had it locked down, and I was like, oh, I think I got somebody in trouble. She's way too serious. But what do you do for fun when you're not doing this, or do you? Yeah.
So, I just bought a house. Been doing a lot of DIY, home improvement stuff. Just put lawn in our backyard, sod. But getting back to the whole social media Facebook thing, we have a Facebook group, Northern Liberties group, an Old Kensington, South Kensington group. And so what I did was, we live across the street from a park, which has this great open field, which is a baseball field. So a few weeks ago, I put out a Facebook post